Hello everyone, welcome to Business Today Global, and this is your host Adiba. And with us today we have a very extraordinary personality with over 20 years of experience in the power and automation industry. He has worked across business development, energy management, and digital innovation. He is widely known for his expertise in smart grids and sustainable solutions. Please join me in welcoming Shaikh Sahid Hossain, Chief Revenue Officer at ETAP. Hello Shahid, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, it is my pleasure to be with you and thank you for having time for me and looking forward to a great conversation ahead.
Yeah. To begin with the conversation, could you please give a brief introduction about yourself and what motivated you to embark on this sector?
Awesome. So to start with, my name is Shahid Hussain Sheikh. In the industry, I'm known as an Hussain. Uh, I've been in the industry for almost 25 years, and the company is known as ETAP, which is a Schneider Electric group of companies, focusing on the energy management and digital solutions. So, as a professional background, I have done my engineering in electronics instrumentation, followed by my MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. So post to my postgraduate of management, I was having multiple options to join an consulting services company or the FMCG's companies. However, being passionate about engineering from the childhood and specifically into the designing and the control systems, I chose the path to be in the same field of engineering, combining with my management skills to look at the growth of that particular industry. And that's where I have joined ETAP. Uh, the main reason for me to choose ETAP and embark on this sector because it represents a very strong convergence of sustainability, technology, and impact. Uh, the world is undergoing major transformation, moving towards AI, clean energy, digitalizations, and smart infrastructure. And I have seen this as a both responsibility and opportunity. Why it is a responsibility? The electrical landscape is getting very complex for various industrialization, and I call this as an industry 4.0 revolution as well after the triple W boom. However, most importantly for me today, power is no more a luxury, it is a basic human necessity. By 2030, there would be still more than close to 3 billion population across the globe who would not have access to power in the right way. And hence, I see the availability and access to power is a human right, and it can be only possible with the right technology. And that's one of my motivation to make sure that we try to help solve and support to have this energy accessible for everyone from residential to commercial to industrial facilities and to the transformation. This sector is not just about business growth, it is all about creating a long term value for the world, reducing the carbon footprints, enabling efficiency through various newer technologies, and building the right ecosystems. The motivation is very simple, right? This is one of the few industries where you can drive innovation at a scale, deliver tangible impact to the human, and build sustainability metrics and the profitability at the same time. This is where I think what we and me as in personally getting an opportunity to drive the digital innovations which can make all of these things happen is unparalleled. And that's where I thought to demystify this electrical domain with newer technologies and innovation. And that's something which I'm trying to do, and that is my motivations and the background. I hope I tried to answer your question in a long term, but you got the gist of it.
Yes, I did. And it was an impressive way to kick off today's conversation, actually. And that was such a powerful opening. Thank you so much for answering. And to go ahead, having spent over 2 decades forming the power and automation industry, what personal philosophies or guiding principles have consistently influenced the way you approach leadership and decision making?
Okay. So, whatever I'm talking really from the heart. I'm not really trying to make a narrative to answer your question. I think to me, leadership is hard working and letting other people to take the decisions. So, if we are getting into an innovation and we are creating an relevancy on that uh, at the right level at every entry checkpoint, that's a true symbology of leadership. So if I have to break it down into few key areas, number one is impact and relevancy. Whatever we do, we try to look at, is the innovation or is the decision which is being happening today in the company or an individually, is it really supporting the bigger energy transition, digital transformation, and its sustainability? Will it solve a real customer or industry pain point? When you have a relevancy on the subject that you are working on, which is aligned with a global strategic alignment and value creation, and creates an innovation and differentiation, is on cutting edge benefit to all the human beings and the industries, are very, very unparalleled. And in that, how does this impact our people, our society, our partners, and our customers? Does it strengthen the trust, collaboration, and long term relationship? And all this combined together is a definition of leadership. My decision making matrix is built on mainly six pillars, which I have said: impact, strategic alignment, value creation, innovation, feasibility, and obviously the people. Every major choice I make is tested against this dimension, ensuring that we pursue is not only profitable but also transformative, sustainable, and executable at scale. To me, leadership is just not for my own product, technology, business, and individual leadership. For me, this leadership is very, very important when we bring in this matrix combined with impact and feasibility, strategic versus value creation. So I try to look at how we can give this information and the tangible benefits in a right way ingrained to all my team members internally or my customers externally or with our partner ecosystems, where we create a collaborative environment and they embark the leadership with the similar thought process. And given the fact that this is always an innovation, the room ample of room to innovate, test, and grow, even if there is a discomfort. If it is not happening as per the plan, it's a learning and growth phase. And empowering people to get into that learning phase, which is not an loss phase or losing phase, is all about leadership. So driving an innovative solutions, unique opportunities, creation, and solving the customer problem not only for today, for future, with an integrated matrix of 2 into 3, which I have mentioned, is key for my leadership and decision making capabilities.
All right. I guess that is such an insightful way to look at leadership. And I think many listeners will relate to the idea of having guiding principles as a compass, especially when decisions are complex and outcomes are uncertain. Uh, to move ahead, when you transition into your current role as a Chief Revenue Officer at ETAP, what internal challenges did you face in aligning your own vision with that of the organization, and how did you overcome them?
So, uh, mm, let me take little pause here and try to reflect back in my mind before I answer that to you.
Sure.
So again, to start with, I have been with the ETAP for almost 20 years. I have led many roles and positions across from on digital innovations to the strategies to the global business development to the sales to product and marketing and so on and so forth. Right. Uh, I was not a veteran. I was an inside employee of ETAP. I know the business. However, at the moment where we were trying to grow massively sustainably in the digital transformation world, specifically on the energy segment, and as I said, the sector is going through an unpredictable challenges and it is a very unfit power systems today. uh, our focus as an ETAP was very simple. We are a customer-centric, innovative digital twin solution provider. So the vision, the mission, and the goals for the company with the senior executives, with the executive leadership team were very clear, which was cascaded down to all the employees up to the bottom where everybody owns and gets the vision. And that's what is one of the critical success factor of ETAP, if I may say so, that we all from a leadership team to the execution team to the field engineering team and every single individual in the company knows what is our vision, what is our mission, and where we are trying to embark on the journey to create an unified 3D and AI-enabled electrical digital twin for sustainable world and demystifying the electrical network. And in that process, we all are committed to drive the innovations, drive the customer satisfactions, and really create cutting edge technologies which solves the challenges and problems. Obviously, as we are trying to grow with an hockey stick growth model, not a linear growth model, there are certain cultural and organizational challenges which every company face in. And as I elevated to the C executive class, I was looking at organically merging all the different commercial and business units together. Challenges like integrating diverse teams, global geographies across the world, different go-to-market models, along with the ecosystems of partners, distributors, system integrators, obviously our own mothership company of Schneider and Aviva, to avoid all kind of different silos, which is there to one unified ETAP model, and shifting the business model from a conventional business of perpetual to a subscription to the SaaS with a unique offering of taking cloud and mobile first concept with a 3D AI digital twin model is very, very important. While in my current role, balancing the recurring revenue, generating the growth strategies with legacy customers are the expectations, but creating the right designing, bundling, and the partner governance model makes it very, very unique. And not only from an internal side, while we are integrating the team with the same vision and to drive the business growth, it is also very important to solve the global GTM complexity which we have across the business models and the products to our customers from an ranges of utilities to the industries to the OEMs to the EPCs to the consultants to different uh, product manufacturer with different buying cycles. So what I was focusing on is to create a scalable and unified go-to-market model strategies while tailoring different strategies for all the geographical regions. And one of the important part which we have taken is to have one strategic collaborations and synergies with partners and OEM companies likes of NVIDIA, Schneider Electric, or Aviva, or others, where we create an integrated collaborative industrial digital twin, which essentially creates an coexistence and joint value propositions without creating any kind of channel conflict and really solving the challenges together. While If I have to combine all of this, driving growth and innovation together is a key role for me to grow the organization. CRO, being a chief commercial officer or chief revenue officer role, is just not about hitting the numbers, but ensure sales is aligned with all the product roadmaps, innovations, along with R&D priorities, and the most important is customer needs. So main challenge is to bridging the gap between the engineering driven culture to market driven executions. And that's what I'm trying to develop in the process while we are looking at our unified vision of one ETAP, customer centric growth, operational disciplining with the back office integrations along with the partnership leverage, and really growing the culture and talent inside the organization. So transitioning over 2.5 decades, just to clarify and clear to you, more than 25 years, so more than 2 decades in power and automation into my current role of Chief Commercial Officer of ETAP with Schneider Electric. The biggest challenge has been the integrations of the global team, transferring the business models to subscriptions, and aligning the growth with innovation. I approach this by focusing on a unified one ETAP vision, building a customer-centric growth strategies, leveraging the partnership and collaborations with customers and our peers, and instilling operational discipline. Most importantly, I see this role as an alignment of people, process, and technology so that revenue and growth and innovation can go hand in hand in order to maintain our core vision of utilization of 3D AI-based digital twin for sustainability and energy efficiency. I don't know if I answered your questions correctly and given you what you are looking for.
That is fascinating, Hussein. When you talk about creating a unified 3D and AI-enabled digital twin and demystifying the electrical network, it makes me wonder, how do you see this actually changing the day-to-day experience for businesses and people who rely on these systems?
It's a very very good question, and it has to be looked at in multiple ways. Uh, so let's look at and understand what is an 3D and AI enabled electrical digital twin. So an electrical digital twin is a digital replica of the physical electrical network from power generation to power utilization, which has all the metadata, network connection information, the OEM information, along with its all engineering simulations analysis attributes with real time and historical data on it so that you can do design, engineering, manufacturing, commissioning, operations, maintenance, optimizations, and expansions with sustainability for your entire power systems life cycle from inception of the asset to the retirement or change of the asset, from an entire network infrastructure of a city or a country to the equipment level of the component. So that is what ETAP does as a creation of an integrated electrical digital twin, where you see the entire network model and also you see the schematics and the panel design of an equipment inside the equipment for a machine. What we have done on top of it is to bring a 3D model so that you not only see that as a 2D environment of an electrical diagram, you can actually visualize this as it exists in the physical world in the 3D infrastructure, which helps you to do better decision making process, better training management, maintenance management, public safety, and equipment enhancement for better visualizations and operations. While AI on top of it makes it more simpler and easier because we hold almost all the electrical structure data from on metadata to OEM data to engineering data to operational data to the simulations and analysis and historical data. So we have already an AI structured model which is in existence from last 20 plus odd years. And we have been doing a lot of advanced data analytics in past, which is now been turned and empowered more with an artificial intelligence, which we call it as an electrical AI. So this is what is an true definition of 3D and AI-enabled electrical digital twin, from design to operations and optimizations and expansion, from infrastructure to equipment, from power generation to power utilization, from extra high voltage to extra low voltage. How this is really changing the world and how our customers perceive in 3D and AI digital twin is very, very important. As I said, the electrical landscape is getting very complex with the new energy landscape, which is coming in from solar, wind, and BESS as a renewable sources of power, alternative energies, while we are using the existing electrical infrastructure for transmission and distributions or industrial systems. So power balancing, demand side management, forecasting the unvariable power systems, which is dependent on solar and wind, which is on the weather conditions, and managing that kind of complex power generations with a fixed load demand patterns, which was there earlier, be it an industrial, residential, commercial facility. And now with the AI data center, which is coming in, where there is a very dynamic load pattern which is coming in, it is important for the technologies to solve those problems, to have a reliable, safe, clean, and efficient power supply to all those load patterns. How customers perceive this as a 3D AI digital twin? I think it is very, very important to have a right visualization, which means seeing the invisible. So in past, we were getting all the real-time data which is visible, but in today's world, it is very important to see the invisible so that you can take the right decisions and helps you to right operating the systems of managing that demand and supplies gap properly. So customer can see in 3D the mirror of their assets, plants, or systems of electrical network, which was mostly invisible. That is the demystifying part of the electrical network, because you never see power. You can see the infrastructure, but you don't know how the power is flowing and you don't have the visibility of that. So we bring that visibility. Instead of abstract drawings or tables, they can walk through with a 3D model with zoom in and zoom out, along with the emulations of the visibility of the power movement, and interact with their operations in real time. While you do use that in the design phase to do the maximum capex optimizations from on space to equipment to the rating, and eventually that becomes a single source of truth. To them, it becomes a central hub for information for the design data, engineering data, operational data, maintenance history, and future scenarios all in one place, where they can not only do the current operations as is, but also predict the future. And this removes the confusion of siloed systems and conflicting reports while you do an operations with different team. And with the electric AI, you can predict the power. The value of the electric AI of ETAP does not just report problems, but predict the failures, optimize the performances, and suggest the decisions before they occur. And it's seen as a shift from reactive firefighting to a proactive decision-making process. And every customer looks at it as an efficiency and cost savings perspective. So if you look at from customer perspective, the energy transition is just not on technology or on metric or on sustainability reporting to do. It is really about driving the efficiency and cost savings while you are maintaining and sustaining your power requirement. Customers look at it as a way to reduce the downtime, extend the asset life, and cut the O&M cost. If I have to say this in a boardroom language, it's an ROI enabler that justifies a digital investment for electrification, digitizations, and energy management. This also provides a platform for collaboration and accessibility, where in past, the consultant, the contractors, the OEMs, the manufacturers, and the operators and the maintenance teams all operate in silos. There are non-technical stakeholders like executives, finance, and safety teams, where they are also working in silos in different parts of the whole world. Someone is in US, in India, in China, in Middle East, in Europe. You can now collaborate with this together, and they love that they can see and understand the design and operations visually without needing an engineering knowledge. It creates a common language across the department with cross collaborations globally on a real-time basis, and it makes our customers for future ready, where they can pave their pathway to autonomy, enabling automations, integrations with IoT and electric AI-driven self-healing electrical grids or plants, and that assures and reassures them that they are future proofing
their assets with ETAP electrical digital twin. And that's what our customers' persona versus the product variations and the technology are the core of ETAP's digital twin.
All right. I like how you tied it back to sustainability and public safety. And it shows that innovation is not just about technology, but about responsibility too. And when we talk, you have navigated both technical and strategic dimensions of business, from energy management and digital innovation to business development. How do you personally balance these two sides of expertise in high pressure situations?
Interesting question. Yeah. So I firmly believe and very strongly believe if we have a very strong technology and product which solves the challenges of our customer in a simplistic manner, there is no pressure. And that's what my personal feeling, and this is a strong personal opinion. Since you have asked this question, which is personally, it I have to really take it from a structured thinking ability to bridge the right positioning between the technology and business development. So balancing the technical and strategic dimensions in high pressure sessions are very key because of the fact that we have our customers who are very pressed on time to deliver their projects because it has been multiple factors involved while they take the project in. Hence, timely delivery is important. And while you do the untimely delivery, the technology part cannot be compromised because if you don't do the right technology, the delivery may slippage from their right time. So the way I see is anchor in purpose. So every time there has to be an anchor which defines what is the purpose at particular point in time. So I always remind myself and the team that the discussion that we do with the customer during the sales or pre-sales or on bidding stage is not about winning an argument or about showing on higher capabilities of the technologies, but about really solving the customer problem which will unlock their growth potential. And purpose always helps me to prioritize. When under pressure, I focus what creates maximum impact now for the customer, which means when we are going to a customer where they are having certain issues and requirements, we try to solve that issue and requirement as a priority, which drives the business growth automatically. I switch my lens from an engineer versus strategist. As an engineer, I rely on facts, models, and scenarios to bring the technical clarity to my customer. And at the same time, as a strategist, I translate this into a business outcomes, ROIs, and competitive positioning for both customers and ETAP. So unless both customer and ETAP are convinced and they have their own return on investment available while they're investing on the technologies and while we are investing on the solutions, if those are not matching, then there is no long term. So in tough situations, I consciously switch between these two lenses to ensure technical soundness and strategic relevance coexist. Because in our domain, if we don't bring the technology and strategy together, it cannot be long term from a sustainability metric point of view. Data driven solidness and calmness is very important. While we pressure can trigger emotions, but all the data and the structural framework bring the discussions back to the rational ground with our customer. And I essentially empower the team where I don't try to carry everything myself in on high stake movements. I bring the specialist and in depth while I hold the narrative at a higher level. That balance shows the confidence and build trust across both technical and commercial sides from the customer end and from ETAP end. And reflection and reframe of all of these high pressure sessions, I pursue to listen deeply, understand the actual technical requirement, and solve the challenge of the customer first, which reframes the technical issues into a business context and reduces the tensions and diverse element. As you solve the customer problem, the business automatically gets into a strategical development. And that's how I try to combine together the philosophy, if I have to say. uh, the personal leadership philosophy is defining the right technology and product which solves the customer requirement. At the end of the day, this is labor and the solution combined together. So good workmanship, good labor, and good solutions, which combines together to create a unique value for the customer. And that's where I change my hat very often from a technology enthusiastic to a strategic support leader for customer.
I like how you explain that balance, and often people think you have to choose one side, either technical or strategic. But your journey shows how integrating both can create real impact. And you also mentioned the importance of timely delivery with uncompromised technology. In your view, what role does long term planning and risk management play in making that possible?
Long term planning and what?
Risk management.
So, if you connect back to what I have said earlier, the energy landscape is drastically changing. At every place you see on penetration of new energy landscape for achieving net zero targets, or to do the electrifications, or to do digitizations for achieving the sustainability. And this is a requirement at a national level to an individual private site level. What does it mean? The country wanted to get into an energy security, to have self energy independency at a global national level, while the local operator of an individual plant or a residential complex or an warehouse or an individual store are also looking at how they can reduce their energy consumptions and contribute to the CO2 emission reductions and balance their carbon footprint for sustainability. And this is where a long-term planning and risk management is key in the growth of the segment. In the long-term planning sets the vision, milestone, and growth trajectory. It is important to have the engagement in the early phases at every stakeholder level. So again, this is where you will witness the balance between strategies and technologies. Number one, when a nation is looking at bringing the sustainability metric, they have to do long-term planning, and that's where we as an ETAP gets involved with them to support on their feasibility and long-term planning from a technical side, and that reflects back to ETAP on the business side. And we have the similar approach without it companies become reactive chasing opportunities instead of shaping how the customer will see its solutions on a long term, balancing the ambitions and bringing the resiliency, which means we work with customer from a very early stage of their concept and help them and support them, which impacts on the business growth on a long term perspective. And that resiliency is what we have, which helps us to navigate in the entire ecosystem from long term planning to bringing the EPCs or the consultant and the contractors and then the customers and the OEM at every life cycle of the project. We bring all the benefits together. From a risk management point of view, it is both customer and internal. While we anticipate the from an internal perspective, market volatility, regulatory safe, technology disruptions, and geopolitical risk, we try to align that along with the customer's risk management appetite, and that balance helps us to scale confidently without overextending the same. The capital resource allocations are also important from both customer side and ETAP side. So we look at long-term planning provides a roadmap for investment, where to double down or where to exit or where to pace the growth. Risk framework guides whether to pursue aggressive bets and/or strengthen the core operations. The trust credibility with our customers and internal teams are very important. Customers also understands we are here for long-term part engagement with them, while our internal investor partners, they place confidence on us that shows on foresight and preparedness for the future, and demonstrating strong long-term planning and risk governance builds the brand trust, which fuels our growth opportunity. Innovation with safety nets are important also. While we are doing a lot of disruptive innovations, long-term growth often requires innovations which is inherently risky. So risk management creates uncontrollable experimentations environments where we get into an POC-based innovations that can thrive without threatening the stability of the system. So for me, long-term planning defines the direction of growth, while risk management ensures we can sustain it through uncertainties, not only for internal, but also we do exactly the same alignment with our customer. Together, they provide the structure to invest boldly, innovative responsibly, and scale with confidence, turning the short term into unsustainable compounding growth.
All right. Beyond driving revenue growth, what inner values motivate you to pursue sustainability and decarbonization initiatives so deeply in your professional journey?
So the first one, what you said, beyond driving revenue growth.
Yes. What inner values motivate you to pursue sustainability and decarbonization initiatives?
Hmm. You know, uh, I was pausing to think, how to rightly answer this question. Let me start with this. Decarbonization, sustainability, energy efficiency, net zero achievement, renewable energy landscape, clean energies, carbon emission reductions, CO2 calculations are the key metric of our business. So our business happens mainly to achieve all of these uh, key KPIs which you have mentioned. And it's really very, very simple for us, because whatever we do, it reflects back on those 6 pillars which I have mentioned earlier also. And that's a very simple way of explaining. In the same time, it is a very thoughtful angle. We drive the growth, and that growth only happens because of those pillars that we have succeeded to deliver to our customer. So if I have to say that it is purpose beyond profit, I would not be saying it right. Because we do things which helps our customers to achieve their sustainability, achieve their decarbonizations, achieve their net zero targets, achieve their digitizations, electrifications, efficiency improvement, and that helps us to generate our revenue. But this revenue is just measure of a success, but it really helps to achieve the sustainability for our customer, which means success to us. For me, the inner value lies in knowing that every growth initiative, what we do, contributes to a cleaner, more equitable future for our customers and future generation to come. And this is a real responsibility for our future generations. Having spent more than 2.5 decades in power and automations and technology and energy field, I feel a duty to leave the sector in better state that I found it when I have started. Decarbonization is not optional, it's an obligation to the next generation. And that really helps us to create that ecosystems and technology, and specifically now with the electric AI and 3D based ETAP digital twin, we have one technology in presence which is there already from last 25 odd years, but now it is the time where world is really moving forward on those matrices. We are ready to support all those initiatives, and this is not an optional, it's an obligation. And why, again, if you connect back to the first one, post to my MBA, I still chose to get into this electrical automation and energy efficiency field because of the alignment of head and heart. And I think that is the inner value that we are talking about. Business growth strategies excite the head, but the sustainability initiatives, the net zero initiatives that engage the heart and consciousness. And again, in a very, very simple word, if I have to put it across, if you look at 40 years ago as a kid, the weather that we used to enjoy 4 or 5 different weathers a year, we don't see that now. We don't have that for our kids. And it is very visible. The global climate impact is very visible. And whatever we do is directly or compoundingly or indirectly supports those initiatives. So it's about being able to look back and say, we grew, but we also made the world better, and that's important for us. And that's where we bring in human and societal impact, where beyond carbon metric, sustainability means energy access, efficiency, resiliency, and most importantly, affordability. And the inner value is seeing communities gain opportunities because of that system we help build. I'll give you one small example. In Senelec, there are roughly around 75,000 households in 5 different small villages have never seen power yet in their life. Last year, along with the Senegal utility and the World Bank Development Fund, we have created an environment where we could provide them on clean, sustainable power without really creating any impact on the nature through means of solar energy and energy storage system, where we have given this 75,000 household an access to energy which creates their livelihood to a next level, brings opportunities for business, and yet making an impact on the generations to come to have a better and good life. That's what is value to me. Obviously, we drive the business and revenue out of that, but I could always proudly say that we have done this. Another example, in Nigeria, there was a breweries company where we have helped to develop the city in order to have the power available in cleaner energy manner, where it creates an employment and job. We have supported many projects in Latin America. We have supported many projects in islands and in many parts of the Middle East as well as Southeast Asia and India, to create a clean, sustainable energy which helps to have access to power, improve the lifestyle, and yet reduce the impact on our nature. And those are the inner values to me. And that's where the endurance legacy comes into play. Revenue peaks and dips, impact lasts longer than balance sheets. For me, whatever we do as an ETAP is a real impact on the society and the world. The real achievement is when the global sustainability becomes the core narrative of growth, not a side story. And this is what we are practicing. And we are in the heart and core of the sustainability as ETAP, Aviva, and as a Schneider Electric.
I think that really resonates with many of us, because sustainability is not just a business choice, it is a personal value. Like you said, it is an obligation. Hearing how you strongly you connect with it makes the message even more powerful. With your strong academic grounding at MIT and IIM Ahmedabad, what lessons outside of textbooks and curricula still stay with you today and guide your leadership style?
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, I have never been asked this question in past, so I don't know how to answer this question. But to me, it's very simple. Uh, it comes with your inner value, how humble and down to earth you could be. Obviously, the academic background helps you to think analytical, get the evidence based understanding, gets the right structured informations and problem solving skills. uh, However, when you get into a complex scenario, clarity is important. The academic rigor helps simplify the complex, whether it is technical, system, strategy, models, or finance. However, the personal part and leadership part which comes into my play and my style is to make all the difficult challenges, ununderstandable ideas into a simple, understandable ideas for the all stakeholders, be it an internal leadership team or an external customer engagement. Beyond textbook, what is also important that I have seen is the collaboration and inclusion, where intelligence on technology product are amplified to the strategy of the company and the product. However, uh, I believe the collaboration and inclusion is very, very critical in the leadership, and my leadership style is more of participative. I create an environment where experts contribute deeply and aligned with the driven shared vision. I let my team to take their own business decisions and drive the business from the top while I am there as a back in the anchoring the ship if required. And that's where mentorship come into play. uh, I value coaching and knowledge transfer to my team so that they can grow by themselves, they can be the leader of themselves and their team, and empowering people to grow not just for executing tasks but to become a real leader. So I try to be strategic. I do the strategy. I create the structure, uh, and give that to my leadership team and to my team, where they take my strategy and build their own strategy for the localizations and change and structure that strategy that they believe in and execute it. And that's how uh, I look at my leadership style, so which comes really with an integrated hard work, analytical thinking, collaborative and mentorship driven engagement.
Uh, that is such a refreshing way to look at education. Often the most lasting lessons are not what is written in textbooks, but what forms how we think and lead in real life. And your answer truly made justice to the question. And when you look back at your work in consulting and M&A, what were the most difficult but transformative decisions you personally had to make, and how did they form your professional identity?
Hmm. So again, talking from a lot of practical experience. So when we are doing the M&A, I will go that as a first part. To me, integrating a company is integration of many other things after M&A, which means it is just not by integration of numbers, it is mostly integration of people. And that integration of people creates a combined value to be contributed to the technology, and that combined technology of two companies creates a major value for our customer and solves the massive problem that individually both two companies could not solve. And the signing of an M&A deal itself is rarely the hardest part. It's what comes after signing. Now, once your M&A is being done, the most difficult task I have faced is balancing the financial logic of the transactions with the human, cultural, and product integrations that decides the future success. Uh, when we go through an M&A, we come from different worlds, but we have a shared one vision, one future. In one instance, I had to merge multiple companies, very different cultures, very different go-to-market models, very different product portfolios. The financial due diligence was clear, but aligning of the people, priorities, and long-term visions required navigating politics inside the company, resistance and uncertainty, and the change management which comes into play. So time pressure and the stakeholder demands are key. While you do the M&A work often happens under extreme time pressure with multiple stakeholders, boards, investors, employees, and all looking for different outcomes. One of the difficult part which I have seen and not to really push is not to push the decision. We're not rushed for short-term topics, but set up for organizational changes. So to me, while we are integrating four different companies, I have taken in a very simplistic approach to combine the team, create a product bundle in short term so that it solves the customer challenge from an end-to-end perspective and create additional net new value to the customer, and yet helps in increasing our revenue by combining the product models and simplifying the buying pattern while engaging the team with an right learning management system so that each product can understand each product team from different companies can understand the entire portfolio and they're able to pitch it and sell it while creating the value for the customers from an end-to-end basis. So that organizational setup, commercial model development from a product point of view, without doing any technological integration on short-term basis while looking for the technological integration on long-term makes it very, very unique. And these are the challenging tasks. It is easy to understand what are the challenges, but often it is difficult to take the decision to have the right conscious approach. So my suggestion and advice to the team that once you have the right M&A, the most important part is to focus on the change management. And if you have obstacles in the change management, you have to take decision very fast and quick to have the right team, right technology, right resources, which is the only way of success in M&A, in my opinion. And until and unless the technology and product combined values are created, it would be difficult for a scale of growth.
It is compelling how those tough choices often leave the deepest impact. Your story shows that identity as a leader is often built in those defining moments of decision making. Moving ahead, you have been regarded as a thought leader in smart grid technology. When you reflect on your own intellectual journey, what personal sparks of curiosity pushed you into this space and kept you invested in its possibilities?
Right. So again, I don't know if I have been regarded as a thought leader, but uh, yeah, I mean, this is one of the things which is interesting to me. And I have spent a lot of time learning, debating, understanding, challenging the way our landscape in the smart grid, be it an industry or be it an utility from power generation, transmission to distribution, which exist. The biggest thing which I have seen is there is a massive silo, massive regulatory compliances, massive standards, data insolvencies, data silos, and the format that we exchange informations and operate our grid together. And that really fascinated me to say why we have so many silos while every single individual internally or externally are looking at one asset. While you are looking at one asset as an infrastructure, why it cannot be designed, operated, optimized in the similar way. why there are so many silos. So that is a relentless curiosity. And I never stopped being a student from there onwards, where I try to understand and engage and see where there are more than thousands of different technologies of the similar solutions. However, they are not talking to each other. And that's where the constant learning from technology shift, customer challenges, and global trends, which is happening, came into my mind. And this curiosity allows me to see ahead of the curve and shape the conversation as a thought leader. While you can be a thought leader, you have to have also an execution discipline, and vision is meaningless without execution. And my smart grid thought always comes into my mind with an habit of turning big ideas into an structure roadmaps, POCs are to have set targets and measurable results. And this is where the ETAP digital twin comes into play, where I look at the customer challenges, try to get the innovations inside ETAP digital twin to create one unified platform, start from design to engineer to operate to execute with a collaborative environment where it can talk seamlessly to thousands of different technologies, what I have mentioned in past. So this is where I built my journey by balancing the technical depth and strategic foresights, speaking the both language of engineers and the executives at the same time. And that ability of bridging the domains made me trusted voice in the boardrooms, industries forums, internally and externally, and resiliencies under the pressure, where I try to bring all these heterogeneous technologies integrating and talking to each other by means of demonstrating under the projects and solutions. In North America, we have been doing this for last 4 5 customers as a complete smart grid revamping and digitalizations project, where we are supporting them to unifying all their data, information silos, and their ET, OT, IT, and maintenance technologies together into one single pane of glass as an electrical digital twin with electric AI, and which is demonstrating a massive value to the customer, and which is being spoken by itself. So starting from a solution architecting positioning to the integration interface to the operational the efficiency improvement to bringing all the executives and stakeholders together gives an paramount not only at the leader but also somebody who can deliver and deploy this. And that's where I think people like the approach, where they look at the consistency and integrity not as a leadership thought but also actually on the executions. And that's what me as an individual or as an ETAP as a company, when we embark on a journey, we always go deeper and deploy it, even if it has commercial impact to ETAP sometime. So over 3 decades, this is our consistency on showing up, delivering the results, and staying authentic, which built our credibility. And that's where ETAP is known as the world's largest and the bestest renowned, as well as dependent electrical software. And I hope in that process, people admire what we do and what we commit as a leadership team. And that's where I guess I have been, seen as a thought leader in the smarter grid.
I love how curiosity played such a strong role in your path. And it is a good reminder that innovation usually starts with asking the right questions and not just finding quick answers. And when we talk in moments where business goals conflict with environmental responsibilities, what inner dialogue do you have with yourself to arrive at decisions that are both pragmatic and principled?
So, you know, I think I have to repeat what I have said earlier. I don't think any of our business goal is conflicting with environmental KPIs that we have to overcome. Because whatever we do as a business is actually in line with the environmental goals, whatever we have been putting and keeping to ourselves and globally from a political point of view or a technical point of view or from a corporate structure point of view. So it is rather very, very simple for us. The conflict is how rapidly we can grow to support
all this, all these sustainable goals that environment has for us. So this is the only conflict. I don't see any conflict, and that is the reality. So all the environmental concerns, whatever is there, industry has to deliver and deploy that for both short term and long term, starting from regulatory penalties to the reputational damage to the stranded assets or to the customer backlash. We as an ETAP, we actually help all the industries to deliver all those KPIs in faster manner. And that's basically where the innovations comes into play as the bridge. Electric AI, digital twin, 3D model, microgrid, smart automation, energy management, sustainability analysis, renewable energy management control systems, generation, transmission, distribution management systems. These often deliver both cost saving and environmental benefits are the key. Without this, all this technology has no meaning. So we are the enabler for all the industries to achieve their environmental goals, rather, where they can use ETAP to do what you have said earlier, long-term planning, first-term deployment, and future engagement to reduce their risk management, and it allows them to pace the investment so that they can achieve the sustainability and growth reinforcement for each other. And this is where, as a leader, it is really not in conflict where business versus environment. Rather, whatever we do, business is transform the models and the structure of growth for us internally, as well as that is the main existence and that is the purpose of ETAP, to support the growth in sustainability and environment for our customers by design, right? This is how we have designed to operate. And that's basically where we as an ETAP supports to the companies that solve this conflict, will help in getting their competitive advantage in future. So I see our business goals and environmental challenges are not competing priorities. Rather, the business goals are to help and evolve the environmental challenges. And there is no balance, because without the ETAP technologies, you cannot get into the right sustainability. So my role is to really let our customer know that we as an ETAP with the technology of electrical AI, 3D driven electrical digital twin is the core foundations to achieve your environmental goals and drive your profitability and optimizations of the cost.
All right. Many younger professionals aspire to build expertise across multiple industries and geographics as you have. But what personal sacrifices or transitions cultivated your path that you believe people rarely see from the outside?
That's a very, very personal question. In the role where you are in, where you are managing the global organizations, you have late nighters, you have global travels, and you are really out there to solve the customer problems, aligning their business requirements, which obviously is your internal goals also as an organization. In this process, obviously, we do compromise a lot, specifically starting with family, as you are away from your home for almost 15-20 days a month. You lose your family time, the importance that you need to give to the families, kids, children are sometimes ignored. Due to your travels across the globe, across the industries, and very different industries, it is an pressing job at times, and you need to be at your toes, and you need to be a student and learner all the time round the clock, so that you can understand and be relevant in an industry where you wanted to make an impact and be a voice of the customer to support them in their transition journey.
So it also needs a lot of dedications, which means there is an short-term compromise that you do with your family, and there is an sometimes you don't get enough time for yourself to focus on your mental balance or your physical health, and so on and so forth, which takes strain and constraint on that. Hence it is important to have that right balance of your personal well-being, mental well-being, and obviously family well-being. Again, it comes within price tag, and it is important to maintain that priority. So the way to handle this is obviously in the shorter period of time you need to get involved, but in a long-term perspective, if you recollect back what I have told in my leadership, I try to build the strategy and give it to my leaders to be the self autonomous, and they drive their own strategies and deploy it, which is aligned with the global vision of the organization. And with that, you can only reduce your overall travel while you enable your leaders to be the real leader and then grow the team, and there is a balance in everything that you do. So these are the hard task of times where you need to really balance out all the professional goals and personal goals together. But the good part is it does not feel like a pressure for you, because what you do, it solves the challenges of a customer, environment, and our future generations to come. And it is something that you are truly believing and doing it as it is one of its kind. And if it is not being done, we will still be in the silos of operations what we have done. And if you sit back in future and see that, hey, look, in Senelec, this is the first time we have supplied electricity. Look, in Nigeria, we have demystified this. We are building this massive airport which is going to run 100% on renewable. We are building this new plant and city in Saudi Arabia or in Mexico, which is 100% net zero. And those kind of achievement and the social responsibility that you get is unparalleled, and that is the test of the success.
That is such an honest perspective, and often we see success from the outside but do not realize the sacrifices behind it. And sharing that openly will definitely give younger professionals a more real picture. All right, moving ahead, if you were to pass on one deeply personal insight from your professional journey to the next generation of leaders striving to merge innovation with sustainability, what would it be and why?
Hmm. You put me on thinking. One deep insight for next generation. So let's go why, right? Uh, Sustainable success, since we talked a lot about sustainability, so I'll start with sustainable success. Sustainable success comes from balancing ambition with purpose. As I said in my last, that's the test of success, which means the success test is what you are really making an impact on the world, on the environment, on the future generations to come. And this is where why is so important. Ambition alone can burn you out. So chasing titles, revenues, or recognitions without deeper meaning often leads to short-term wins, but long-term emptiness. This is really important thing. There is no shortcut to hard work, and you have to keep on doing your hard work in order to get your long-term happiness and avoid this emptiness. The purpose really anchors you. Whatever is your personal goal you have, you put that personal goal or professional ambition to your work, which contributes to something larger. For an example, innovation, community impact, and or your family responsibility. It gives resiliency during your setbacks and clarity in your decision. So the purpose definition which really anchors you, whatever it could be. You wanted to be innovator, you wanted to be someone who is impacting the community, and or you have your anchor to support your entire family and community. So this really helps you to be very, very resilient during your setbacks and clarity in decision. Uh, the other important factor is your attitude from a personal perspective. There is no age not to learn. So it is very, very important to learn. And to learn, you have to put effort. And you have to balance your family, your health, your mental well being, and your professional goals. Hence, there is no shortcut than hard work. Right attitude, hard work, purpose, these three things, and being honest to yourself and to your customer at all time are the real integrated values which can make you a leader of future. Whatever is that, the next generation will inherit a world which has all these values, and the requirement of climate change and the air disruption and global complexity. Those who can align all the personal ambitions with purposeful impact will not only thrive but also create lasting change with their positive attitude and hard work as the important essence and ingredients of success. If they're being resilient on that, it will really help them to grow. So if I had to pass one deep insight to the next generations, it would be balancing your ambitions with purpose, engaging your hard work with a positive attitude, and being a student and curious through your lifetime. Ambition will take you far, but purpose will keep you grounded. Together, combining all these three, they can turn success from being just about a personal achievement into something that create real lasting impact on society, on themselves and their family.
All right. That's a beautiful answer. Moving on to our last question. If all the technological innovations you have worked on suddenly disappeared tomorrow, what impact would you want to have left behind on people, the environment, and the industry?
Hmm. 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 So I was thinking a little bit differently. If the technology becomes obsolete tomorrow, I will start a new technology from day after tomorrow, which becomes relevant. that's 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 some simpler way to do it. That's why I was thinking that should I answer it this way or no? But on an honest note, that is what I will be doing it. If everything obsolete tomorrow, what we are doing today, we will embark on a journey and create the new technology and innovations which becomes relevant and the need of the hour for future. So that's where the impact that I can think I can bring in. Even if I don't do anything on an industry side, I would say industries would regress more manual traditional methods of working, but the leadership, governance, and strategic foresight would still be very, very vital. I think my impact would be helping industries reimagining their process, their energy structured operations, and bringing the solutions of automations and autonomous operations with limited tools and tackles will be key. On an environment point of view, I would say I would keep on driving initiatives around energy discipline, uh, the different optimizations, and the change management, ensuring the environmental consciousness does not vanish with the technology, even if the technology is not there. Uh, from a people perspective, I would continue to empower through the knowledge, leadership, and collaboration. Obviously, again, I would work on the technology part of it, but the real value is uh, not in the technology itself, built in how we genuinely guide the team, inspire the resiliency, and solve the problem together, even if there is a limited availability of the technology. Obviously, technology makes it very fast, scalable, and structurable, but everything depends on people how to deploy it. So this is how I can do
both people, environmental, and industrial impact. If all technological innovations needs to be, or let me step back and say, if there is an
Okay.
obsolescence of uh, innovation tomorrow, I think my impact would still be to empower people, protect the environment with a net zero, and guide industry through resiliency. I am an enthusiastic of digital twin, digital transformations, energy efficiency thought leader. Technology is only the enabler. The real value lies of combining what I have said, from an leadership, vision, and ability for the people across the purpose. This is something I would continue to deliver, regardless tools to be available or not, hypothetically. But I don't believe tools will not be available. If it is disappearing, I will create the new tools.
All right, Hussein. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you would want to add or share with our listeners?
Uh, I think what is important is to highlight digital transformation, energy efficiency, net zero ambition are no more a myth. It is a reality. To deploy this in scale, to achieve the optimization, helping improving your efficiency and reducing the cost. The technology stacks are there for ages. Unfortunately, this has not been used and popularized as it is being getting popularized now. So all the technology stack is available. And if you really want to embark on a digital transformations, energy efficiency, energy management, and on very detailed electrical, schematic, product lifecycle management engineering journey to bring all those technologies and collaborations together to create a unique replica of your facility, plant, generation, transmission, and distribution system. ETAP, along with its electric AI-enabled 3D digital twin, is here to support that. We'll be more than happy to work with you as your engaged customer engineer from a short-term to long-term perspective. And to the future leaders, there is a massive opportunity out there in the energy landscape, but with the right purpose, discipline, focus, and hard work, you can achieve a lot. Drive your business with a purpose and engage with hard work along with an resiliency, and that is the only way of growth. That's all from my side.
All right. Thank you so much, Hussein, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. It has been truly inspiring to hear your journey from leading in power and automation industry to driving innovation and sustainability on a global scale. And I'm sure our listeners have gained valuable lessons they can apply in their own professional paths. To our audience, thank you so much for tuning into Business Today Global. Stay curious and keep learning, and we look forward to bringing you more conversations with leaders, forming industries, and creating impact. Hussein, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you very much to the Business World team for having me nominated for this one. And I really look forward to talking to you in future as well.
Sure, really looking forward to it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead.
Have a great day.